I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
But in the kingdom, we're going to have that power like the angels, but we're going to be what you call extraterrestrial. In other words, we're not going to be regular terrestrial like we are right now. Because what happened is, in the ancient world, we had that power. We had that power when we were on a level like gods. But what happened is, the Most High took that power from us. Over the generations and over the years, the Lord took that power from us. But we're going to get that back. We're going to get that power back coming into the kingdom.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
When we think about the kingdom, most brothers think of like the small, minute terms. But the vastness of the kingdom, the greatness of the kingdom, dealing with the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and the information alone that we're going to receive when we get to the kingdom. That's on a whole nother level. Never mind the riches and the lands and the women and the children and, to be in your chariot, sipping some yayan, on your chalice, your gold chalice with all them rubies and emeralds and sapphires and, the different precious stones, going to places.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
No one, no matter how vivid a brother's imagination is, there's nothing in comparison to what's coming. You can't even imagine. You can't even paint into picture or write into words or give an explanation that even comes close to the majesty that's coming. We are destined.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
The brother with the most vivid imagination out there can't imagine what the kingdom of heaven has in store, what it's going to be like. What we're basing the kingdom of heaven as far as riches and having a good time and things of that nature is just based off of our experiences in this world and what we think having a good time is and living the life is. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. There are pleasures forevermore at thy right hand. So the kingdom that's coming is going to be set up and established in righteousness. The Israelites are going to be changed. Thy people shall be all righteous. Not one Israelite is going to be lost, because the promise that the Most High made to Abraham was to all that seed. And the seed of the promise went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. Every seed that came out of Jacob is a part of the ones that are going to receive the benefits that the Most High promised to blessed Abraham.
The transfer of rulership is coming, and the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Righteousness will be spread throughout the whole four corners of the earth. Wickedness will be put down. According to the Holy Scriptures, Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High, is set to bring immortality to the nation of Israel, the elect, via establishing the tabernacle of David, as we talk about the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He is coming to take down this current world ruled by Esau, Edom, and establish a righteous kingdom, which is synonymous with the throne of David. That's scriptural, which is a government that's going to run this world in righteousness.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, in peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, dealing with digital public infrastructure. Okay, because as we see, just looking at how things are trending, that this digital ID, could be a thing. Watching this devil, what he's implementing throughout the earth, what he already has implemented, in other countries, with digital ID. Or it's looking like this devil, is trending towards that way. We know the digital ID would be the threshold for this MOTB system, as he's herding everyone, to his digital infrastructure. Okay. That's why, more things, are going biometric. Okay. More things, are going paperless. Okay. And everything is being digitalized. Okay. And this devil, all right, he's setting up this digital infrastructure because ultimately that's going to be the infrastructure for the MOTB. Okay. So before the technology goes in you, it's seeming as if this devil, wants you to have some type of digital ID on your phone. Okay. And make it, a regulation, and regulated through government. Okay. Which we know this government is being, broken down. Okay. And transformed into a technocracy right before our eyes. Okay. Because the technocracy needs a digital public infrastructure. Okay. To run. Okay. So I got a few videos I want to get into, but a few things on the chat as well. I'm gonna look up. But let's get a few precepts, all right? Because ultimately what the devil is building is just an completely anti-Messiah system. Okay, because we know that the devil, okay, the spirit that he pushes now is anti-Messiah. Okay. And what he wants to do, he wants to double and triple down on it with even more control. Okay. So when you go to Job 21:14, said, therefore they say unto the Most High, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. Okay. And this is the mind of the devil. And in this system, he wants to remove all the ways of the Most High. That's why he wants to tap into your neural system, man. All right, which is your mind. Okay, he wants to control your spirit. He wants everyone to depart from the ways of the Most High. Okay, on another level. And that's why to participate in this society, eventually you're going to have to bow down, okay, to this system. You're gonna have to get all right. You're gonna have to bend the knee. You're gonna have to be fully compliant to this system, man. Okay, and this man plans on taking humanity into a rebellion against the Most High like never before. Okay, so this is how this man thinks, and this is how he wants everyone to think. But he needs to get everyone on board with the digital grid. Okay, he said, "What is the Almighty that we should serve Him, and what profit should we have if we pray unto Him?" And see, he pushing a society where he can promise you prosperity outside of obedience to righteousness, because you go into the scriptures. Well, righteousness is rewarded, okay, and rebellion is punished. What he wants to set up a system says, well, look, I can reward your rebellion against the Most High. Okay, what profit is it to serve Him when I can bless you through my system? Okay, this is what this devil is pushing in the earth. Okay, and he's herding everyone into this infrastructure, man. Okay, it says, lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is the counsel of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distributed sorrows in His anger. Okay, so their good is not in their hand, which the predicament that Esau has been in, his blessed estate, you know, it's not because and he really believes that he thinks that it's because he's enlightened and he's this high IQ, this special, nation that's in the earth, this elite, superior people that's in the earth, that he's in the position that he's in. No, the Lord put this nigga in this position, man. The Lord exalted this man, all right, to dominate the earth in wickedness, man. All right, for the sake of prophecy, man. Okay, and we're finna see why the Lord has promoted this man so high in the earth, man. Okay, first, we know it was a punishment unto us. Okay, and then it will set up, all right, a situation where the Lord would be able to show His power. Okay, and also show what happens. Okay, when people get rebellion. See, Esau is gonna be the greatest example of what happens when the nation rebels against Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay, there's gonna be a new standard set. Okay, it's gonna be greater than Sodom and Gomorrah. It's gonna be greater than the flood. It's gonna be a new standard of judgment that the Lord finna set with Esau, man. Okay, but in his mind, all right, he, all right, has manufactured his own prosperity, and he gonna continue to manufacture his prosperity through technology, through witchcraft. Okay, you see, and their counsel is far from Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Esau on some whole other, what he's trying to pull off in the earth. It said, how oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction, man. So how often does the Lord have to show? All right. How often do nations have to go down this path? Okay, then deal with the judgment of the Most High. How often cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distributed sorrows in His anger. They are extolled before the wind, and their chaff that the storm carried away, man. That's the nukes and the chariots, man. Okay, that's getting ready to come and lay, all right, and obliterate this man's kingdom, man. Okay, between the chariots and the nukes, man, it's gonna obliterate this man's everything this man has set up. Because one of the main things that needs to be removed is this wicked infrastructure that this man, is trying to establish. Okay, so we're about to see the Most High intervene in a major way, and the closer this devil get, and this is good news for us. Okay, that this devil got all this going. This works in our favor. Let's get there real quick in Romans. We get it a lot, but it's a faith booster. Especially in the times that we in. Romans 8:28, it says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Most High, to them who are called according to His purpose, man. So what this devil is doing, this is beautiful, man. Okay, we're here. This devil, he's really setting up this digital infrastructure. Okay, he's really pushing this digital ID. All right, and we know that the end game is the MOTB. which when that is made mandatory, hey, we out of here, man. Okay, things are gonna move quick, rapidly. All right, and we're gonna be out of here, man. Lord will that number. Okay, so we're seeing all these things happening. You know, the devil is rolling it out, and he has this thing operating already in different countries, man. Okay, I said, would you tap into some of these things? Well, let's go here. Let's play this video first. All right. All right, so then we're gonna jump around in this one. All right, to show you that the devil has these things like America is behind. There's other nations that's just beyond America in digital. All right, what you call digital public infrastructure. Okay, which you're gonna get into that on the second video. He goes into it, but let's play this.
Well, they keep telling us this digital ID is all for convenience. It's all to improve our lives, but it's something darker, more nefarious going on. Will we be able to go to our bank without this digital ID? Will we be able to live our lives without a digital ID? Is it all about control? And where is this coming from? Where did this emerge from? My bet is some unelected globalists, but we'll get to the bottom of all of that today on the show. I'm lucky to be joined by Hakeem Anwar. He's the CEO of Above Phone. He's put together a massive new report on digital IDs. He's been studying this perhaps more than anybody over the last number of years and has done incredible work on this. Hakeem, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Clayton. It's good to be here.
So they keep telling us we need to move to a digital ID, whether it's real ID. Maybe you could walk through maybe the different variations of these IDs that are popping up in Europe. And we know a lot of it was a test bed in Ukraine using the DIA app, and people were basically moving their full identities over to the phone. We've covered that here on the show extensively, which was really a product of USAID funneling money into Ukraine as a test bed operation. But maybe you could go through some of the different variations of this move to a digital ID around the world.
Yeah, so, over the past few months, I've been studying programs everywhere, and there's a difference in flavor of the programs in Asia versus the West, Europe, which try to be more democratic and progressive and interoperable. But at the end of the day, there are many different ways you can be enrolled onto this digital ID system. And a few of those, most digital ID programs encompass being able to log in to many government services. So this digital ID should make it easier to do things like paying taxes and getting social welfare, right? Things that everyone loves. And so because it's a single sign-on, that also means that it's interoperable. So it can be expanded to social media. And now in the UK and in the Australia with their Online Safety Act, this is like a natural next step to do age verification, because hey, the digital ID already has a way to, and it has your age saved on there. So this is kind of where it's going. It's first going to be just for government services, but it could quickly expand to the internet at large. And then it's also going to.
So they're pushing, the digital ID, through governments for particular government services. Even when you on board with the IRS now, they're requiring biometrics, to on board with the IRS. All right. So it seems like they're going to introduce, the digital IDs through government, through these different governments. All right. And once they establish digital ID, through these governments, and then they can start putting people within this digital public infrastructure where everything is connected. All right, that's why Palantir, has so much, that's why the government, dealing with Palantir, which Palantir is nothing but a government entity. All right, but that's going to be where they centralize all this data, for the digital public infrastructure. So that's why Trump has all these technocrats, okay, involved in government affairs, because we're finna see a transition. The digital ID is gonna be a major transition into this system, man. Okay, this is like the onboarding process, the way that this thing is rolling out. But we'll see. Things can change, and the most I can have them where they have to skip a step, and but the way that they're going now, this is the way. All right, that things are trending.
Span is a way companies can accept your information. I know Mexico has already made plans for this with their Corp system, and as well as the EU.
And Mexico has a small hat president. All right, the little chick president down there in Mexico, she's a small hat. Okay, and a lot of these leaders in Central South America, presidents, a lot of them be small hats, man. There's a lot of people that you think are native to these particular nations that are presidents and in positions of power, and they be small hats and Edomites, man.
All companies will be required to accept digital ID as a form of identification by 2027. So it slowly starts to grow until it encompasses everything that you can do on a daily basis.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, this is Dope Tech from Wix.
Around the world. So for employment verification, they're telling us, of course, it's about our safety, right? It's to prevent whether illegal immigrants from getting jobs, and it's all about convenience. It's all about to make sure that someone's not hacking in your bank account. Like, this is your money. It's all tied to you. So it's all about protection, right? That's how they're telling us.
Yeah, supposedly it's about our protection and safety and making our lives easier, because the people who run these programs really care about that, right? Their whole argument is right now it's really hard to manage all these different IDs you have online. You've got to remember these usernames and passwords. And so to simplify it, to reduce the amount of paper, because we need to be carbon neutral for all these things, that's why digital ID is very convenient. Well, it's also convenient for them too, because they're able to pool information from many different areas together. A really good example of this is Brazil's blockchain called Cadastros that they've been working on, where the digital IDs, a key to those IDs, are actually saved on this blockchain. And then there's 6 other agencies, the tax agency, the housing agency, the marriage and life agency. These are also publishing their data onto this blockchain. So it's kind of all tied together. And that way, these different offices are aware of what's. If you happen to do something wrong on one of these systems, like let's say you forget to pay your taxes, or you were sued, and now this will affect everything else, and it could potentially know your digital ID. When you look at what is happening in Russia and China, which you can kind of argue they have the most mature digital ID systems in the world, right now in Russia, I mean, this is interesting. I don't think people really know about the level of surveillance and control in Russia. But if you get called for the draft and you're on Goslugi, which is their digital ID system, then they actually have cameras in the metro and on buses that can see who you are. And because you provided them your legal identity and your biometrics, they will actually stop you and say, hey, where are you going? We called you for the draft, after 20 days or so. So I want people to be aware of where this is going, and the sneaky ways they might be asked to enter this digital ID system. It happens when you tie your legal identity with your biometric. Right now, that happens kind of as a side party through banks. Banks will KYC you. Russia did the same thing, where they ordered banks to do the face scanning for identity verification. And then they took the bank's biometric database and said, hey, now you have to provide that to us. There's 2 laws in 2012 and 2015, which did that. So, you kind of have to know the roadmap of how we're getting there.
Yeah, man. So, a way that they can start hurting people, as he says, different, your bank might require certain biometrics, for identification. Okay. your school. If you go to school, they might require different biometrics and whatever your job, different things. And what happens? The government says, okay, now we need that data. Okay. So what the government does, especially in America, because the American government just can't do like China, you know, and other, governments, and just implement particular things. Okay. They have to do it in a more subtle way. All right. So they require, different industries and entities to require a different type of ID. All right. Then that ID and then data, okay, is being transferred, okay, to the government, and the government is putting it in a centralized, all right, database, all right, for a digital public infrastructure. Okay. And we're going to get what that is. Let's as a matter of fact, let's go from there. What we call DPI. Okay. So you go into a digital public infrastructure. Okay, it says a digital public infrastructure, all right, or DPI, refers to a set of fundamental digital systems that enable essential services for the public, much like physical infrastructure, roads, and electricity. But in the digital world, governments often build and regulate these systems so people and businesses can interact efficiently, safely, and at a low cost. All right, DPI typically includes three core layers: digital identity, a secure way for people to prove who they are online. Examples, all right, Aadhaar, which is in India, Sing Pass, all right, which is in Singapore, and Estonia's EID. Okay, so these things are already being rolled out, all right, globally. You see, these things are happening. We go into these things. We're seeing that these things are already happening, in these other countries, man, with larger populations. Okay, it says digital payment says systems that allow, so like it says, systems that allow fast, low cost, secure money transfers. Examples: UPI, which is in India, the PIX, okay, which is in Brazil, and faster payments in the UK. It says data exchange, digital service platform, frameworks that let different institutions security share data or offer digital service with user consent. Okay, examples is Estonia's X Road, India. So India just locked in. In India is they digital. India is pretty much digital. All right, so India's DigiLocker and data empowerment and protection architecture, we call DEPA. It says why DP matters. All right, DPI matters. It says financial inclusion. People without bank access can still receive payments or welfare. People without bank access can still receive payments or welfare. Okay, and when they talk about financial inclusion, they got this term called the unbanked. And when they're talking about the unbanked, they're mainly speaking of the tribes. Okay, so they don't want people with just money, cash laying around unaccounted for. All right, digital public infrastructure is, all right, a open air digital prison. Okay, but like I say, they're gonna come, all right, with this trap of what? Convenience. Okay, and inclusion, efficiency, innovation. Okay, look at these three words: inclusion, efficiency, reduces paperwork, corruption, and delays. All right, it's always going to be corrupt because Esau is corrupt. This technology is going to make him he can be more corrupt. Okay, it's easy for this nigga to be corrupt. Okay, it says innovation, businesses can build apps and services on top of the shared digital foundation. Resilience allows governments to deliver services even during crisis. Digital cash transfers, all right, during pandemics. Okay, as an example. Okay, so they're rolling out a digital infrastructure. Okay, that's going to require digital ID. Okay, and then digital ID requires you to identify yourself for every service that you want to use, from the internet, okay, to banking, okay, to pay bills. Everything. You have to identify yourself for everything. Okay, it says in short, digital public infrastructure is the digital equivalent of public utilities, identity payments, and data systems that enables a country digital economy to function smoothly and inclusively. Okay, so they're already making it sound cute. You see, and you see Russia. They're already digital. Okay, because when people think of BRICS, well, let's go here. You see, as I said, they already have these other nations heavily digitalized, man. Okay, so when you go here, all right. So I asked that how much of the world's population does the BRICS countries account for, and how much BRICS nations have digital public infrastructure, and is BRICS currency going to be digital? It's a great question. Short answer: BRIC is very BRICS is very significant in population. They're making serious moves in digital public infrastructure, and as BRICS, digital currency is under discussion, but not quite what people imagine. Here's a breakdown. Okay, so they account for a significant part of the population. All right, and they're making serious move in the digital public infrastructure. Okay, and they're in talks of what, a digital currency. All right, which BRICS is just a segue, another segue to get these nations on board. All right, to the MOTB system. Okay, because yes, these nations are fed up with American foreign policy, and how America, the treachery of America. Okay, and they set up BRICS as this alternative to the American dollar, which when they collapse the dollar is all going to go digital. Okay, and BRICS is just on board these nations too. All right, this worldwide digital currency that they plan on rolling out. Okay, so you have to understand, these nations, if they're going to fight over this new world order system. Okay, who's going to be the superpower of this new system? Okay, that's what these nations are going to fight over. But they're all in cahoots with this system being rolled out. Okay, that's why most of these BRICS nations are digital, highly advanced in digital, mainly India, China, and Russia. But when you go into it, it says how much of the world's population is in BRICS. It said the original BRICS country, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have a combined population of around 3.3 billion, according to the BRICS page. That amounts to over 40% of the world's population. Some sources say that within expanding BRICS, the share is about 46% of global population. All right, so do most BRICS nations have digital public infrastructure? So that's almost half the world's population within this BRICS alignment. All right, so this shows you that they're making leaps and bounds into this DPI, the digital public infrastructure, man. Okay, this thing is being rolled out in these large populations, man. It says yes to varying degrees. All or most BRICS countries are investing heavily in digital public infrastructure through the maturity, all right, and type differ. It says though the maturity and type differ. Okay, so it says India, often cited as a global benchmark for DPI. India's digital public infrastructure includes things like the Aadhaar, which is the digital the digital ID, the UPI, Unified Payment Interface, and strong digital governance platforms. It said China, very advanced digital infrastructure, widespread broadband, data centers, massive mobile payment adoptions, and more. Brazil, Russia, South Africa, very more in digital maturity, They have growing digital services, mobile payments, and some logistics platform development. So you have China and India, all right, which are at the forefront with their DPI. All right, then you have right behind them Brazil, Russia, and South Africa beginning to roll out DPI. Okay, the digital public infrastructure. Okay, it says also at a BRICS communications ministers meeting, the countries committed to blustering cross-border. All right, these countries have committed to bolstering a cross-border digital innovation and sustainability. All right, this is going to be global. You see, in this new world order, you're going to be a global citizen. There don't be no such thing as an American and Russian. No, you're going to be a global citizen. Okay, you're going to be all right on a global. Okay, the DPI is going to be global. It's not going to be confined to one country. Okay, it's going to be global digital public infrastructure. Okay, it says so. Yes, most BRICS nations do have meaningful digital public infrastructure, though not uniformly at the same level and with different priorities. And see, now the devil's he's trying to get everyone up to speed. You know, he wants to sink this thing. Okay, so prepare for more of a push. All right, and prepare for certain events to happen. Okay, for these devils. All right, to justify going more digital, man. You just wait. These events that's getting ready to happen, it's going to be a push to go more digital. Okay. It says several big BRICS countries are developing or piloting their own central bank digital currency, CBDCs. China has the digital yuan. Okay. The CBDCs, man. Okay. And that's going to be the currency of the New World Order. That's what your C is going to be linked to, this DPI. All right, and the currency of this digital public infrastructure is going to be central bank digital currency. Russia is working on a digital ruble with plans for large scale rollout. India is expanding its pilot, okay, of the rupee, okay, the e-rupee. Brazil is preparing a digital real, which is the Drex. South Africa is also exploring a digital rand, all right, though with regulatory and structural, all right, challenges. So all these nations are going digital, man. Okay, these are the nations at the forefront, all right, but all these nations, all right, are gearing up for this DPI, this digital public infrastructure, which is going to be global. Okay, so I got another video I want to get into. All right, he's going to expound on it because it's all about central control. Okay, it's all about central control. So let's go here. You know, but one thing about some of these Edomite Christians, which, you know, he looks like Edomite. All right, but one thing about these Edomite looking Christians, you know, they will go into prophecy. They will go into what's happening. Okay, if you are in the nigger church, you don't have a clue of what's happening. Okay, you're trying to see what Thanksgiving dinner is going to be Thursday. Okay, you don't have a clue of what's happening pertaining to prophecy, man. Okay, so let's play this. All right.
Have you noticed what's been going on all around the world? Digital IDs, digital wallets, digital health records, your name, your money, your movements, your political views, your religious beliefs, all being pushed into a single unified system. And the people promoting it, big tech, world governments, and organizations like the World Economic Forum. Now, before you click off, I need to tell you, my friends, this is not conspiracy. It's actually public policy, legislations, global infrastructure being built right now. And the Bible warned about a future where no one can buy or sell or trade without a mark. And today, we're closer than ever. And so in this video, we're going to watch a few different clips. We're going to go through a couple articles, and I'm going to share with you what the digital ID actually is, who's pushing for it, and what the Bible actually says. So if you like this video, hit the like button, help me reach more people, and let's check it out.
being pushed by people in high places and with big tech connections, like former PM Tony Blair. And the digital ID debate has caused an uproar among the Brits, concerns about privacy, civil liberties, perhaps geofencing, tracking, social credit systems, well, a lot of nefarious motives. But tech billionaires, Bill Gates and Larry Ellison, they're totally on board.
I don't trust
The
them.
NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all of this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform.
A unified data platform.
Now think about what he just said real quick, okay? And we're going to keep going. But he's saying all the data that's out there is just fragmented, and we can't know what it says. We can't know enough about you, and we gotta bring it all together. So then our AI that we're creating, actually, that big data is creating this AI to work on this big data, so that then we can look at your life and can control you. That's what's coming.
Well, what could possibly go wrong with that? Independent journalist Michael Schellenberger has been digging into the digital ID issue. He just released a lengthy piece on this on his Substack called Public. He joins us now with his thoughts.
Hey, great to be with you, Laura. Yeah, I mean, another conspiracy theory that has started coming true. I mean, we saw this announcement in September. It took everybody by surprise. The World Economic Forum had been pushing digital IDs, the United Nations, the European Union, Britain. Of course, the really terrifying example is China, which uses digital IDs and a social credit score to control speech and to control what people think and say online. I mean, it could come in a lot of different ways. They'll start voluntary, then they'll make it mandatory. They'll have rewards, and then they'll have punishments. It's quite terrifying. And when you just listen to what the advocates for digital IDs say, it's terrifying. Again, this is potentially digital totalitarianism.
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media. Citizens have the right to privacy, not to anonymity or impunity. We must push forward the principle of pseudonymity as the functioning element of social media, and force all these platforms to link every user account to an European digital identity wallet.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you.
Now, if I hadn't read the Bible, I might be like, okay, who cares? Next big thing, whatever. But if you know your Bible, you know what's coming. All right. It's actually just been unveiled here in Illinois that Apple is now working with I guess, Illinois law and whatnot to roll out this digital wallet so that we can now have our own digital ID. But here's how a digital ID works worldwide. All right. There's a digital ID that keeps your identity. There's a digital wallet where your credentials, your documents, your assets and permissions, where they all live. Then you have your digital records where everything from health, travel, employment, and social benefits are controlled. Then you have digital verification, mandatory authentication to access society itself, at least online. As this guy's saying, you can't be anonymous. You literally, everything you do online must be tracked, and we must know it's you. It's the foundation of what's called digital public infrastructure, or you might see DPI, a phrase used repeatedly by the World Economic Forum, which is made up of mostly unelected people that have made themselves now the leaders of the world. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you some sources here to share with you what the World Economic Forum has been pushing. And this is just recently, but they've been talking about this for a while. The first one is an article that says digital public infrastructure, DPI, is key to a connected future. Makes it sound so good. We want to be connected. DPI refers to the essential digital systems and platforms that enable individuals, businesses, and communities to participate in the digital economy and society. These systems function as a core framework to facilitate reliable, safe, and equitable access to digital goods and services, and empower stakeholders to build value through scaled digital capacities. I love how they make it sound so nice, like equitable, goods and services, empower, value. These are key words that I believe are there on purpose. Digital public infrastructure is built on physical infrastructure, like here's your data centers. You want to know why they're pushing data centers? They got to have them in order to centralize all this. and communication networks. Why is there cell phone towers and fiber optic and everything imaginable being built up? It's because a system is being created and includes foundation elements like digital ID protocols and data exchange platforms, and extends up to digital interfaces engaged directly by users. This is not some kind of a minor update that we're going through. This is the creation of a one system that determines whether you can work, travel, buy, or even participate in society at all. So I'm going to share with you, if you don't believe me yet, I'm going to let you hear from, his name is Sir Keir Kramer. I'm bad with names, my gosh. Keir Starmer. He's actually shared a video with this, but I want to share it with you here. Again, what he just recently said.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have ID.
You can't get more clear than that. There he is, a prime minister saying, if you don't get this, done with. That's how let's just be honest. That's how the vaccines started, right? First it's voluntary, then if you want to go places, you got to have visual ID.
Yeah, he made a point. All right, at first it's voluntarily, then it's strongly encouraged, and then, without it, you'll be inconvenienced. Okay, so we fully see where this is going. Okay, and this double, like I say, this digital public infrastructure. This is the infrastructure for the MOTB system. All right, this is when you take the C-HIP. This is what you're going to be linked to a digital public infrastructure. Okay, that's going to allow you access to particular things, going to deny you access to particular things, going to monitor you, all right, with a social credit score. Okay, the DPI is the infrastructure for the MOTB system, man. Okay, you can't make sense of any other breakdown of the MOTB. You cannot make sense. Sin, okay, an embargo, white women, what niggas say anything. Okay, you cannot make sense of the mark of the beast breakdown. Okay, and not include, all right, what these devils are setting up right before our eyes, man. Okay, so this is the system, this system that they're rolling out. Okay, when people start to take the C-HIP, this is what they're going to be linked to. Okay, so now the infrastructure is here, and just like the brother, okay, just put, all right, let's get these and we'll let play some more. It's the brother, it's the brother Kazak, pulling Yahweh. Okay, this is a Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. It's speaking. Okay, the infrastructures are here. The MOTB prophecy is speaking. Okay, even non-believers, like I say, even at least like I say, with these Edomite looking Christians, they will link what's happening in real time to the Bible. Okay, they will associate what's happening in the world real time with the Bible. Okay, some of these could be Jakes. All right, who knows? Okay, but we know that some of them will link what's happening with the Bible. Patrick Wood, he's a Christian. Okay, and he's linking technocracy with Revelation 13 and 16. This guy here, he's linking the digital public infrastructure, Revelation 13 and 16. Okay, you'll be better off listening to this guy than the Hakah or Hassad at this point. At least you'll be in tune with prophecy. Okay, but we're seeing the vision speak now. All right, it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry, man. All right, and it's here, and it's not tarrying, man. It's it's a build up. But when this thing, when this devil started to make certain mandates and cause certain events to happen to justify him, okay, making, certain mandates within this system, okay, hey, things are gonna go quick. You see? So let's let this play some more.
Then it's required for absolute access, and then required for survival. One ID connected to everything, able to restrict purchases, travel, fuel, food, alcohol, carbon usage, whatever it is, whatever they want to say, and of course, speech. So this is what the WEF actually wants. Their direct goals, in their own words, is a unified data platforms, tokenization of all assets, digital identity as a core to participate in this digital economy, and then global governance, completely everything controlled, even in what they're calling in the metaverse. So I want to share with you just two more articles real quick, and then we're going to get into what the Bible's been saying about this. Let's see. Let me pull it up here. Here is this article first. You can't really read it fully on the screen, but it says how universal wallets can help businesses unleash the full potential. There it is, the full potential of digital identity. Full potential, unleash, keywords. People are becoming more comfortable with tokenization, which is the process of digitizing ownership of documents and other items, thanks to digital wallets. Digital wallets are already transforming online business interactions, taking them from website-centric to customer-centric. Oh, that sounds so good. They care about me. To be successful in the future, meaning probably to operate, to literally be a business in the future, they will need to earn customers' trust, so they will share discrete real-time data with them via their digital wallets. This will help to enhance interactions with consumers. And so I have this highlighted here. It says this is where the second trend comes in. We no longer need to carry our physical wallets with us wherever we go because it's technological. You don't need it anymore. Digital payment mechanisms, Apple Pay, Google Pay, to Zelle and Venmo have already been widely. They're like, we've already been doing it. Some U.S. states are even adopting it. That's exactly what's going on here in Illinois. Now,
they've been conditioning people with Apple Pay, Google Pay. Okay, so they're conditioning you away from a purse and a wallet, okay, to where they want to consolidate everything to your phone. And then they're going to consolidate from the phone to what? The C-hip. The C-hip is next. There's nothing else to go next but the C-hip. So now they're segueing, they're getting away from actual wallets and purses. Okay, and they've been conditioning the masses with Google Pay, Zelle, Apple Pay. These are all been conditioning mechanisms. Okay, to people where people consolidate things with their to their phone, because people are more prone to leave their actual wallet or purse than to leave their phone. You see, this is gradualism, man. Okay, we're seeing the gradualism, man. Okay, if a brother can post that in 2 Corinthians 2:11 in the NLT Bible show. 2 Corinthians 2:11 in the NLT. Okay. Because then even when they say, let's go here. This Psalms 55:21 is from the brother Kazak Bun Yahweh. It said the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawing swords, man. And this is how the devil gets down. He knows how to come, with smooth, enticing, seducing word. Okay, he knows how to allure. Okay, he knows how to paint a picture as if this is for your interest. When it goes against you, he's really at war with you, man. He's more subtle than any creature, man. He knows how to wage a war with you with smooth words. Okay, and a lot of people are gonna, take the bait and walk right into the digital prison, man. A lot of people finna put themselves in this digital prison. Okay, and give this man just unlimited access, okay, to your daily movements, man. And he wants to make his way to your thoughts. Okay. So you go here. Let's get this 2 Corinthians 2:11 in NLT, the brother Kazak Bar Yahweh. It says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. Okay, we're familiar with the devil, scheme, because we know his end game, what he wants to get to. You see, he's doing a lot of distractions and a lot of song and dance, but we know what this devil is headed to. We know what he wants. Okay. It's just like a woman when she understand what a man wants. Then she started to see the man doing all these things, like she know what he want. Okay, all these other things that he's doing, like she know what he wants, and that's what this devil is doing. So we're like that woman that's on game. I like we know what this nigga he doing all this to get to this. This really what it's about. Okay. So we see these steps being made. We know where he's going with. All right. So let's play some more.
This is how it works. First, it's in your hand as currency, okay, cash, credit card, whatever. Now it becomes electronic in your hand, and then eventually implantable. They're open about it. Everything in human society, physical, digital, financial, social, tied to global infrastructure that requires identity for proof. Remember, I can't say that word. You can't be anonymous. So if you don't plug in, you're locked out. And this last article here is just about the metaverse, right? They want every part of society, both physical and online, tracked. Under the banner of establishing global governance in the metaverse, the World Economic Forum is pushing digital ID for all users. So if you go online, you have to have a digital ID. So all blended reality interactions and transactions can be tracked and traced. Have you heard enough? Have I convinced you yet that this is coming? This is the danger of centralized control, because once everything is digital, the one who controls the system controls you, controls us. That means our money, our access, our travel, our medical rights, online speech, hate speech, the Bible. Again, we made a video on this earlier. Things that the Bible say are going to be labeled hate speech. You can't even have your own faith no more because what you say is considered offensive. Social credit systems like what's going on in China, carbon credits, religious expression, all tied to one identity. If you do not bow to this system, you will not live in this system. This becomes an open air digital prison. And look, I'm not trying to scare you. Look, if you say you want Jesus to come back, well, this must happen first. Okay, if you really want Jesus to come, I want him to come right now. Come on, in this corrupt system, bring justice to the oppressed. Make a new heaven and new earth where death flees and sickness is no more. We love you, Jesus. We need you. But
and like I say, he's a Christian. Okay. Well, at least he's, tying what's happening in real time to the Bible. All right. And he's calling on Jesus, which we know his name to be Yahushua. All right. And that's the only solution, okay, to what we see happening, man. Is Yahushua coming back? Now, of course, his understanding, is off, when it comes to, the doctrine. Okay. But let's see. Let's go here. I think he's going to talk about AI a little bit. So let's play this. Hold on.
centralized system. Now you have all this data, your identity, your biometrics, your purchases, your beliefs, everything will be eventually flow through the most powerful system ever created. The goal of every tech company, the biggest ones, artificial super intelligence. I don't have time to get into it in this video, but do your research on what artificial super control on its own.
Which, you know, that's all pretty much a hoax, you know, but that's the point with that video. All right, because the devil can't build nothing that's infinite. All right, you can't be finite. All right, and build nothing that's infinite, and you finite. Okay, so you know there's a lot of, you know, hype that the devil pushes if he's able to build something that's infinite and can do this and infinite memory. No, only the Most High, okay, is able to do that. All right, and that's what separates him from everyone else. But the devil, okay, in his mind, he thinks that he can pull it off. All right, and he's fooled his goddamn self. All right, so let's go here, and the fact that he's operating within what the Lord said he will be doing shows you that this devil is fully controlled. All right, and that the Most High he is. Okay, Isaiah 46:9. Remember the former things are old, for I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High, and there is none like me. So Esau can't build nothing that's God-like. Okay, well, he hype himself up in his movies, and you know these niggas get on stage and talk about the progress they made, and this a lot of it be hype. Esau can do some things, you know, of course, well, a lot of shit be hype, and he can't build nothing that's God like, just like the Most High. Most High said there's none like him. Okay, and it says declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times of things that are not yet done, saying my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure, man. So the pleasure to set up Yahweh Shai as the King of Kings forever. All right, Yahweh Shai to set up his brethren as joint heirs forever. Okay, the elect to be delivered. All right, the beast system destroyed. Okay, once and for all, man. You know, and righteousness to reign forever in the earth. So that's what we finna see happen. All right, and what this devil is doing, okay, he's kicking the can down the road. All right, and it's just leading him to his own destruction, his own demise, all right, and establishing of a righteous kingdom, you know. So that's the point, you know, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful like Shalom.